So let's back up. So you've just made this huge announcement.
Yep.
It's been like a month, okay? And it was an announcement that you put a lot of thought, a lot of energy, a lot of your heart into, and it took people by surprise.
Yes.
How do you feel now that it's been a month?
I feel more sure than I did the first day I told my bosses about it. Mm-hmm. I feel I've rested better. I feel like my body is relaxed. It's that whole thing about when something's right, your body kind of slackens somehow or feels, and that's what I feel like. And it's so funny because when I told my boss about it, I was sitting alone in my office and my heart was pounding because I was about to break up with my boyfriend of 26 years. And she was gonna walk in my door, and I asked her if she could come up and see me for a minute. And I lit a candle and I was playing the song Both Sides Now, which I love so much. And the song was playing and I'm sitting in there with the candle lit, and my boss walks in. And she looks at me and she goes, oh shit. Like, oh God, this is not good. This is not gonna be good. And she sat down, and Maria, the weirdest thing happened. I was so calm. I said, I'm gonna tell you something. And I've been thinking about it and marinating over it. And I know this to be true. So I'm gonna start off by letting you know that there's a big change that's about to happen. And as I was telling her, I still feel my body. I thought I was gonna be sweaty. You know how you are when something, I didn't have that. Because I knew. And she looked at me and she said, I just wanna let you know something. After I told her, I said, I feel like it's a new decade for me. 60's an important decade. I wanna try new things. And I said, it doesn't mean I don't love it here, because I do. I said, but it's time for me to try something new. And she cried. I mean, it's a boss who loves you. And she said, I just want to say something before I talk about the show. I'm so proud of you. I'm proud of you for knowing what you want. And she goes, now what the hell are we gonna do? Was her next thing, in a funny, beautiful way. And of course everyone's gonna be fine and it's silly, but in that moment, but I felt like the decision was already made. You know when I shouldn't equate breaking up with a boyfriend, but you know when you know when a relationship's over?
Right.
Not because, in my case, not because it was bad or whatever, it had run its course. So I knew before this moment. This moment was just saying it. And I think when I said it out loud, I felt calm. And I have to say, this last month, I don't like goodbyes. I hate long goodbyes. I leave a party before anybody, and I never even say goodbye, I just leave. I'm sure, I say hi to everybody and then I'm out the door. It is painful, a long goodbye, I have to say. It's hard to tiptoe slowly through a goodbye. Guests who I've known for many years who've been on the show will say something beautiful to me on the air, and it's painful. It's really painful. I mean, it's beautiful. But it's like you're getting a flower every day. And although beautiful, it's hard.
So holding both of those emotions, pain and beauty in the same moment, so many people don't understand how that's possible.
Yes.
How are you able to hold pain and beauty in the same moment?
I was thinking about, this is a weird goodbye that happened on the air, but Jason Segel, who I've interviewed tons of times, at the very end, we were getting a hard rap, and I had talked about his show and his new shrinkage. It's so great. And he goes, wait, before we go, I have to say something to you. And he said, I just want you to know something. And he proceeded to tell me something really beautiful about
how much he loved being interviewed by you,
Yeah.
how it had been some of the best interviews he'd ever done.
Yes. And I stayed locked into his eyes.
Yeah.
And I didn't, I stayed in the moment. Often I'd be like, no, okay, blah, blah, okay, we gotta go. It's a hard rap, ha, ha, ha. But instead I just sat in it. And I just let it come. The whole thing came, I was like, oh my God, I'm just sitting here. And I remember how it felt. I wanted to weep. I think about it, I want to. Because it was such a beautiful, kind thing to say. And I thought, I'm so quickly batting away compliments or things like that, and just because got to get on our way, not, new things coming. And I've just been sitting in it. And I think that's been something that's been helping me. It's like any emotion that washes over you. It's here for a minute. So sit in it. Don't wish it away, whether it's a good one or a bad feeling. Just let it wash over you. It's how I was feeling, and then it will pass through.
So talk about why do you bat it away?
Why
do
I
you
don't
spend a lifetime of batting these compliments away?
Because it's awkward and not. I don't like standing in that. I feel like my role throughout my life has always been a cheerleader. I was that in high school, not a real cheerleader, but a cheerleader for the football team. Like, come on, Hody. They call me Hody. Get him going. I love to cheer. I was the captain of my basketball team, not because I was the best, but because I knew how to lift people up. That was my thing.
That's your superpower.
That's my superpower. And I've done it in my jobs with everyone I've co-anchored with. Right. That's been what I've been able to do. So I like that role for me. Not because I don't feel like I deserve the bigger, not because of that. I am that person and I enjoy it. So for it to be, when someone pays me a compliment, I don't know. I just don't, I don't know how it feels on me. I'm not sure if I always say thank you, and I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why. Maybe it's like when we were kids, we were taught don't get a big head about it. Come on, let's move on. You're like, oh, okay, I'm not so great. Let's keep going. People are better, than me. I think I just have trouble taking it in. And I think even to acknowledge, even if you don't have to make a big thing about it, but just to acknowledge, thank you for saying that to me. I feel like that's where I am right now.
But you're taking it in now.
I'm taking it in. And it's kind of beautiful. And it's hard. It's easier to bat it away.
Yeah.
It's easier to say thank you and move on. It's easier to say, but when someone's in your eyes, because someone can say a compliment to you and it's the same as saying you have a pretty dress on. You'd be like, okay, thank you. But when someone's in your eyes and says something so beautiful and you feel it deep inside, I'm just receiving it, and it's cool. It's hard, but it's cool.
So you talk about making this big decision, really, which is a huge decision to enter a new season. And you said you were calm. You went in and you said it, but you weren't calm all the way up to it. So people who are about to make a big decision and they're wrangling and they're feeling like I should be calm. No. So talk a little bit about the wrestle, because you wrestled with, should I do this? Should I not do it? Should I do it in a year? Maybe I should stay a little longer. Maybe what do you this? What do you? So talk about the non-calm.
That's a lot of it. That was most of it.
Yeah.
Most of it was just being all tangled up, because there were probably three years ago or so I'd thought about it, and
what made you start to think about it?
I felt like I had done all the things, and I had so many different iterations of my job that it never felt the same.
Right.
But it was 11 years with Kathy Lee, 6 years with Jenna, 2 different jobs, although the same. 6 years with Savannah, and then 10 on Dateline. There were so many different jobs that never felt like the same. But I did think about it because I've always had this kind of urge to try something new. Whether I was thinking, do I want to do a summer camp for kids? Do I want to do a wellness camp for women? Is there something out there that is more, I don't know, in nature, more in wellness, more in the things that I liked? And I've been thinking about it for a while, but it was just an idea. So it's easy to bat away an idea because this job has insurance. This is my job. This job is steady. This job I know will be with me. I have my mom to take care of. I've got my sister. I've got my brother and his family. I got my kids. All the reasons to stay exactly where you are. And so when I thought about leaving, I also wondered, would I be good at something else? Because who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? And I actually don't know if I'll be good at the next thing I want to do. but I know I want to try it. So I think through all that wrestling, I had advice: don't do it yet. Wait for 3 more years. Do another contract. Don't worry, you can do it. Wait till you're 60 something. Wait here, wait here. That was the main advice I was getting. Don't do it. Why would you do that? Do you know how many people want that job? You have the job. And then it would be the best day at work. And I'd be like, you know what? They're right. I do. And I do have a great job.
Yeah.
But as it was going on and on and on, it just was like a gnawing at me. I'm like, what are you doing? I want to try something new. And I mean, more importantly than all of that is, I've got 2 kids who watch me walk out the door, well, they don't actually watch me, but I walk out the door before they ever start their day, and I get to collect them from school sometimes, and sometimes I don't.
Right.
And I thought, when you wait for something like children this long, don't you want to be with them and to nurture them? So I thought about all these different things. And I mean, I lost sleep over it. I tried to block it out. My mom was very much like, my mom is still mad at me for quitting. She's still mad.
Yeah.
Still, because you know why? It's steady. Why would you? It's that kind of conversation. She would rather me be on this show until I couldn't do it anymore.
But it seemed like the last time I was on your podcast, I talked about at a dark time or at a wrangling, wrestling time in my life that I went looking for permission to make a move. And I think you were looking for the same thing, because every time you would call, you would say, do you think now's the right time? Do you think this is okay? And did you feel like you were looking for permission to honor your
Yes.
gut? Yeah.
Yes. And when I called you, which was multiple times over the last several years, we would talk about it, and you would say, let's see how this plays out. Let's talk about the other scenario. How would it look for you? Right. And I remembered when I said it, you were constantly you were 35,000 feet. Let's look at it from up here. Yeah. And I just realized, like, you are my flat tire call. You're mine. You're the one who I call when I'm scared or I don't know what to do or what's the right move to make. And I loved how you kind of guided me. It was just like I did need permission.
Right.
Because everybody else thought I was crazy. They did, because why would you do something like that? And when I decided, and when I realized, because I did all the things, like, is it possible? Can I start this new thing? Do I have any footing? Why would I leave something when I don't know what's there? And I interviewed Sarah Jakes, who's T.D. Jakes' daughter, who's a preacher herself. And she said, when you jump, she said, you have to know who you are on that side. You can't just jump to jump. You have to see yourself. If you're jumping out of a bad relationship, what does that new relationship feel like? Think about it. What does his hand feel like in yours? What's the shared experience that you're longing for? Can you see it? So when you are jumping into a new job or profession or whatever, how do you imagine your body feeling over there? Do you feel it? Okay. Now, it's not as scary to jump when you know what the feelings are or what might be there for you. So when I was thinking about this, again, it was like people kept popping in front of me that were giving me bits and pieces of advice that were helping me find my way.
And I tried to talk to you about all the other times in your life. Let's go back and look at the times in your life where you have made jumps and they were correct, and you didn't know whether you were going to be good at them. You didn't know whether you should leave a marriage. You didn't know whether you should leave a job. You didn't know whether you should raise your hand to take a job. Yeah. You didn't know, should you adopt this child? You didn't know whether you could get another child. You didn't know, could you be a mother? Could you be an anchor? And every time you've been right about you. You've jumped many times before is what I tried to, so you know how to jump. You had more confidence. It was more of a like, does anybody else see what I see? Does anybody else feel what I feel? Is it okay for me to feel this?